said, although they have nothing to lose, I do not give them an easy first round no matter who they face. I talk about the Blazers, I talk about the Mavs. Hello and welcome to the Monday, April 26th edition of the TV on Basketball podcast with your host, TV. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today, and thank you for clicking on to watch or listen to today's episode. Before we get into this episode, I have to plug my other platforms. Remember to follow at TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates on the podcast and for other awesome content. If you are on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell. That would be highly appreciated. And for all my podcast listeners, just continue to show your support in any way possible. If you're on Apple, subscribe, leave a review. That really does help get my podcast out there. And for my Spotify, Anchor, and Podbean listeners, just download. Make sure you're just up to date on the podcast. And I really do appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. I have an awesome show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about how the second seed Suns, if they're actually legit or not. We're also going to be talking about who should make All-NBA between Julius Randle and Zion Williamson. And just some other awesome topics in this episode. Obviously, we're going to end things off with the power rankings as well. So it's going to be an action-packed episode. Thank you guys for all the support you've been giving to the pod and to the Instagram page. And yeah, with my school just basically ending this week, I'm going to be putting a lot more effort on the podcast starting next week. And hopefully more guests with the playoffs coming around as well. Hopefully you get to just get some more awesome content. And thank you guys for sticking through with me through all of this. But yeah, that is going to be the preview of today's show. And yeah, just continue to show your support in any way possible. But since you're here, just sit back, relax, and let's get right into the first topic. And like I said earlier, we're going to start off by talking about the Phoenix Suns. Because the last time I dedicated a topic to this team, they were starting off they were playing very well up to the point in February. Right? I think at the time they were, top 7, top 6. And I was talking about them, and I said, like, look, this has been a great story for them. The fact that Chris Paul has turned this team around this quickly has been great. And just been kind of praising all the players that have been helping out on this journey. But as we say right now, it's Monday, April 26th, and the Suns have improved mightily since then. Right now, they sit second place in the West, only 2 games behind the Jazz, and sadly, they probably would have been closer, but they've lost back-to-back games. But they've been super consistent throughout this entire season, and I've been nothing but impressed by what they've been doing behind Chris Paul, who is their vocal leader, is the one who kind of who installed this winning mentality among them, and they are putting on a show for a lot of fans. Devin Booker this year, 25 points per game. Another great season for him. You're getting great contributions from DeAndre Ayton in the 15 and 11 season. Mikal Bridges coming alive, 13 points a game. And just lots of just little beats and pieces that, a lot of pieces of the puzzle coming together to help this team succeed. Whether it's Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson off the bench, Dario Saric, Cameron Payne, who has been a very, very good backup point guard. If you just go up and down our roster, this team has been absolutely great. And the big thing coming into the season, obviously, was Chris Paul coming there. And a lot of people were complaining, they should have traded him to the Lakers. They should have traded him to a championship contender. And him going to the Phoenix Suns just felt like it was something that the Suns were going to benefit a lot from. But Chris Paul wasn't going to get a lot out of it because he's been to the semifinals multiple times. He's been to the conference finals with the Rockets, and he was this close to making it to the finals. So it felt like, with the way that he's playing right now, that he should be on a championship contender, trying to go for that elusive championship that has evaded him his whole career. Then he gets put on the Phoenix Suns, and people are like, oh, man, this is not how we want to see Chris Paul go out. We really wish he went to a different situation. And, fair enough. fair enough. I was one of those people as well who wanted to see him in a different situation. But the way that he's brought this team together, the leadership that he's brought, the expertise that they've needed, and the way that he's just elevating the other players in the process has been great. And it's honestly time to ask that question, whether the Phoenix Suns are legit title contenders. Because this isn't just a flash in a bottle. This is a team up and down the roster who has everything you need in terms of a championship contender. They have a go-to scorer in Devin Booker. They got a great supporting cast. Like I said, Bridges, Aiden, Chris Paul. Then even their bench is like producing at a high level, whether it's Cam Johnson, Saric, Payne. Even the addition of Torrey Craig, who was rotting on the bench there in Milwaukee, gets moved to Phoenix, and he actually has been helping them quite a bit. Like, it's really time to ask that question, whether they are actually legit. And a lot of the issues here, I mean, if you just look at, like I said, if you look at the roster, there is a common theme. You got Chris Paul and Jay Crowder, who are the only ones with any resemblance of playoff experience. I mean, both have been to the playoffs multiple times in their career. Jay Crowder going as far as the NBA Finals last year with the Miami Heat. Chris Paul to the conference finals. Like I said, if it wasn't for his injury, they probably would have went to the finals and beat the Cavs. But if you look at the other top players, in Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, they have no playoff experience whatsoever. None at all. In fact, the Phoenix Suns have not even been to the playoffs. The playoffs since 2009. And luckily for them, it's not the longest drought. I mean, the Sacramento Kings. That is there. It's been since 2004. Yeah, it's been since 2004, Kings fans. But yeah, I don't know why I brought you into this. That was just petty. But yeah, it's just been such a long time since the Suns had any resemblance of a playoff team. And being like basically out of the playoffs like for that long, being a joke of a franchise. I mean, the closest they got was that season when they had Eric Bledsoe and Dragic playing absolutely fantastic, score just under 50 wins, and they still couldn't make the playoffs. But now they are playing an absolutely high level, and they got all these players playing well. But the thing is, besides Crowder and Paul, they just do not have the experience. They have the play styles to do well. They really do. They are fantastic on both sides of the ball, top 10 in both offense and defensive rating. And as seen in the regular season, they can close out these games. Whether it's Chris Paul hitting shots down the stretch, whether it's Devin Booker, whether it's Jay Crowder hitting a clutch three, Mikal Bridges doing the same. This stuff works in the regular season, and they've proved that they can win in many different scenarios. But the playoffs are a whole different monster. And this is going to be a great test for these young guys in Booker, Aiden, and Bridges to get that type of atmosphere, to be like in those like high pressure situations when every little thing matters. And I mean, this is what the Suns wanted. I don't think they expected to be the second seed. I really don't. I don't think they expect them to be this high, this competitive. And what really does scare me about this team in terms of going against other teams is that they have not much to lose. A lot of what they're going to do in the playoffs is going to be a learning experience that they can use going forward with their core of in the future of Bridges, Aiden, and Booker. But with a lot of these other teams, like I mentioned in the past, who have so much pressure from the organizations, from their fans to do well, who have built their teams to go deep into the playoffs, a la the Portland Trailblazers, the Lakers, the Clippers, even the Jazz and the Mavericks, they are built to, they have been tried, at least they've been attempted to build to go further. With the Suns, they just want experience. As long as they keep these games close and see like who is going to be with the team long term after this year, I think it would be a W. But at the same time, I mean, although they have nothing to lose, I do not give them an easy first round no matter who they face. I talk about the Blazers, I talk about the Mavs. Both have some resemblance of a playoff experience. I mean, the Luka had like one round last year where he played absolutely fantastic. And the thing for them is just to stay healthy, but I think it would still be a toss-up. Maybe not as much for the Mavs, but against the Blazers, a team who has been able to make it out the first round, who has been to the conference finals, who went to the conference finals 2 years ago, this is going to be a legit test for them. And Phoenix are going to be have to face them two, possibly the Grizzlies, possibly the Lakers. And for most of those series, besides the Lakers, I consider it to be a toss-up because we just do not know how these guys are going to perform come playoff time. And I do not want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's right now, like I said, April 26th. We are more than 80% through the season, and Chris Paul still hasn't got injured. I'm sorry I have to bring this up, but Chris Paul, at his age, we know come playoff time that sometimes his body fails him. Knock on wood, nothing bad happens this time, but it's still a cause for concern. It really is. And with that still probably looming in the back of their minds, with the lack of playoff experience, who knows how far they'll go. They could go literally, like, they could be a first round exit to me, or they can make the conference finals. But it all depends on how they're going to how they perform come playoff time. And that's going to really show us whether the Suns are legit or not. Right now, I still have my concerns about them, but I do think that they are a dangerous team with not much to lose, and I think that that's going to be something dangerous coming into the playoffs. But let's move on to this. We went from talking about a specific team to a battle between two players, and I want to talk about this because both these guys have been playing absolutely fantastic this year, and I believe one of these two are going to make All-NBA. Not both of them, but I do believe one of them. And I do want to pose this question to you because I think this is a great discussion point. But when it comes to All-NBA, who do you think is going in? Julius Randle or Zion Williamson? Now, if you're listening to this podcast on the Monday or just like anywhere like at some point like in April, especially the end of April, you know that I'm recording this amidst an amazing win streak by the New York Knicks, who just beat my Raptors yesterday, or is it just 2 days ago? And right now they're on a 9-game winning streak. They are playing absolutely fantastic with Julius Randle averaging over 30 points a game in that run. But although he's been playing great, I think that this battle between him and Zion is a lot closer than people think. And I'm going to break down both of their cases to make All-NBA. Let's start with Julius Randle. And off the top, the biggest thing going for him is the narrative around New York and how good they've been playing. Just the way that they were able to turn around this season with Julius Randle making this huge jump in production, having by far the best season of his career. 24 points a game, 10.5 rebounds, 6 assists. His team 4th in the East. He has all of that going for him. Also, the fact that I believe he's running away with Most Improved Player. This is his best defensive rating of his career, and he's doing this playing the most minutes in basketball. He is carrying this team. Actually, not carrying, but he is the heart and soul of this team, the vocal leader, and he has just been putting on a show for fans, not just in New York, but fans in the NBA. This guy's freaking averaging, I can't believe I'm saying this, over 38% from 3. I can't believe I'm saying that about Julius Randle. Actually, he's shooting over 41 this season. 41% from 3 on 5.3 attempts. Like, this is absolutely crazy what he's been doing for the New York Knicks. Playing at an all-star level, like I said, probably going to run away with Most Improved. And his energy, his leadership on the court, being able not just to score on his own, create a shot for himself, but create shots for others, averaging 6 assists a game, which again is a career high. He's been playing great, and just that whole narrative with New York and stuff, I think is going to be really good for him in terms of his case for All-NBA. Now we move into Zion Williamson, and although you look at Julius Randle, 24, 10.5, 6 assists, 4th best team in the East, right now, of course, 9-game winning streak, it seems like it's going to be a wash between Julius Randle and Zion Williamson. But let me talk to you about Zion, because in only his 2nd season, he is already dominating the game of basketball in the NBA, which is scary, because he has only played 79 games, and in this season alone, he's averaging 27 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and he's averaging over 20 points per game in the paint. He's the only player to do this since Shaq. Like, this is the type of stuff Pelicans fans were hoping for, and they are getting they're getting a superstar type performances from him on a nightly basis. And look, he doesn't have as many wins as Randle. I can definitely say that. And the Pelicans probably won't make the playoffs, like I mentioned in the last few episodes. They kind of dropped the ball on that. But the way that he is situated there in New Orleans, being a secondary ball handler, he is already the most unstoppable paint threat in basketball. He is efficient as almighty hell because he is shooting 63% from the field. 63% inside, 70% from the free throw line, which is actually a massive improvement. Actually, it is 62% from the field. Not that great of a 3-point shooter, but he is just dominant. He is just absolutely dominant, and you could tell that he just makes his team better offensively because he's already top 10 in terms of offensive box plus minus in the NBA. And this is like being compared to people he is around the same area as people like Giannis, like Kawhi, like James Harden. Like, he is affecting the Pelicans offense that much. And he's putting up superstar type numbers. I can arguably say he's already a top 20 player in basketball, and it's only his second season. And I think, although Julius Randle's playing good, I think Zion has a good argument against him. But at the end of the day, although Zion is having a better individual season, I think that Randle's effect on his team, the whole narrative around New York, and just the massive improvement he's made, I think he wins out here. I really do. And the way, like I said, that Randle is being like kind of the focal point of offense, still playing decent on the defensive end. He one of the top defensive win shares in basketball. Julius Randle does. The way that he is like elevating one of the biggest markets in basketball is going to give him the edge over him, at least for this year. And Zion, as long as you stay healthy, he feels like the type of guy who's going to have double-digit All-NBA appearances, double-digit All-Star appearances. Like, this looks like his projection going forward. Knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get injured. And he will be taking over this league soon. But in terms of this season, let's give New York, let's appreciate what Randle's doing for New York. The fact that he's brought excitement back to the city of New York, and he has like people yelling his name, Julius Randle MVP, every single time he's at MSG. It's super fun to watch. Both these guys have been absolutely fantastic this year. But if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose Randle. But let me know down below who you guys think. A lot of people, I believe, are going to say Randle, but take a look at Zion, man. Take a look at Zion. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Let's move on to this. The Blazers. Yes, the Blazers have been struggling this month. Over the last 10 games, they've lost 8 games, and currently they're on a 5-game losing streak. And for me this year, it's now or never for this team. It really is. A lot of these losses, especially over these last 10 games, have come in close games. They're trying their best to do good offensively, but their defense just continues to be shocking. Damian Lillard has said in interviews that he has to be playing better. But let's be honest. The reason why they are not as good, and the reason why they're probably not going to make any noise in the playoffs once again, is because this team has not gone through significant change, and we have a huge sample size of what they've been able to do over these past 4 to 5 years. And this team is just not a championship contender. I've been trying to convince myself that they can be. I mean, earlier in the season, I thought they could be a dark horse contender, a team that could be top 4 in the West. And midway through the season, it looked like that was possible. But for some reason, this team is playing worse right now with a healthy roster. They cannot pull off these close games. And if you really do think about it, like this whole this dynasty this so-called era, this Damian Lillard era, had one semi-successful season, making it to the Western Conference Finals in 2019. But for the majority of it, it's been extremely underwhelming, especially for a player of Dame's caliber. And sitting at 30 years of age, almost 31, his prime will be running out. And I know that Dame wants to be a Portland lifer. He seems like that type of guy. Same thing with Giannis, same thing with Jokic. It really does feel like these guys are one-team guys. But as an NBA fan, I do not want to see his prime years wasted. I mean, after this season, I do not expect them, whether they're in the play-in tournament. I think Damian Lillard would be awesome in the play-in tournament. But whether it's a play-in tournament, whether it's in the playoffs, I do not think this is going to be a long run once again for the Blazers, just because their defense is so bad and their offense is just kind of, iffy at times, especially late in games. I mean, if it's not Dame hitting the shot, it's definitely pretty iffy. And after the season, if they really want to have a clear direction going forward, they have to do two things. One, completely rebuild. Let Dame have a chance at going to a team where they can actually make the finals and maybe give Lillard a chance at a championship, or just a massive retool. And by retool, this includes trading CJ McCollum and trying to get some sort of another just number 2 option for him, because this backcourt, although they produce a lot of points, a lot of offense, has just not gotten them too far. And we have multiple first round exits to show for that, and only one Western Conference Finals appearance. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought they would make noise this year, but this year is very similar to years of the past. I still wouldn't count them out round 1 though. Like I mentioned earlier, Phoenix, a very inexperienced team. Lillard, known for hitting big shots in the playoffs, being able to play well in these very high pressure situations. We have a good resume of that, and I won't count them out because of that. But it seems like there's going to be a very, very tough hill to climb with their current roster. These additions of Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr. has not helped their defense whatsoever. And with Nurkic coming off 2 pretty big injuries, he just has not been the same player as he once was. And this team is probably going to face a reality at the end of this season, and they have to make a decision, starting with management. Maybe they're probably going to have to fire Terry Stotts, who has been called to be fired throughout the majority of the season by Blazers fans. And it really does feel like this is a time for this team to completely just blow this up, or completely restructure this team around Dame and try to build a championship contender that way. Because he wants to stay there, it's up to this organization to provide him the necessary tools. If they want to start a rebuild, I don't know why they traded Gary Trent. Maybe because he was too expensive, but Powell was going to be more expensive. But at the same time, it just feels like this team is just on the road to the same sort of result that they've had over the last couple of years. That's been a theme over the last 4 or 5 years. So, yeah, unfortunate for the Blazers. They've lost to the Grizzlies a couple of times over the last week too, which is highly unfortunate. But I still won't give up on the team, especially in round 1 against a very inexperienced Phoenix Suns team if they get that matchup. Or maybe against the Clippers, who knows? Because if Damian Lillard goes up against Paul George and Pat Bev again, who knows what level he can go to when that motivated. So, yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting to see. The Blazers still struggling right now. Let's see if they're going to be able to bounce back, and who knows, maybe they might get out the first round. But I seriously do not see that happening with their current situation. Before we head into the power rankings of the week, here are some other news and notes from around the NBA. The Timberwolves and the Houston Rockets are the first teams to be eliminated from playoff contention. No surprise there. Both these teams, I don't think the Wolves were trying to tank because they've been tanking for so long now, but they have been eliminated. Pretty rough season for them. And for the Rockets, they're purposely tanking. They're doing a good job of it. If they can get either Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, something like that in the draft, maybe that can kickstart this rebuild. And maybe the Rockets in the next few years could be something. But at the moment, they're tanking. They're doing a good job tanking. I believe they have the worst record in the league too. So they're doing things right. On the complete flip side, the Utah Jazz are the first team this season to to clinch a playoff spot, 44-16. After 60 games, they're the number one team in the league. I think they're a couple games ahead of the Suns, 3 games ahead of the Brooklyn Nets in terms of overall record. Fantastic season for them. Good job for Utah. But this regular season, like I've said in multiple podcasts, is it's good to see. It's very good to see, but it's all about what they do in the playoffs, and I'm gonna be keeping a close eye on them, as like many other fans in the NBA, to see if this is not just a mirage. Let's see if they can actually do it for real come playoff time. An update on the Chris Boucher injury. It is a sprained MCL in his right knee. He is going to miss the next 2 games from the time you're hearing this, because he missed the next game over the weekend. But good thing it's nothing like too serious. He's played every game for the Raptors before that next game, and now he's going to finally miss some time, like many other Raptors from this season who have suffered multiple injuries. But yeah, good thing it's not too serious. Hopefully he can come back healthy. Another injury to report for the Denver Nuggets. Will Barton suffered a significant hamstring strain, and he looks like he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Another hard blow for the Denver Nuggets, who are already missing Jamal Murray, who are already missing Monty Morris for a couple games. Like, this has been an extremely rough near the end of the season for this Denver Nuggets team. And they're still picking up wins. I mean, you gotta respect that. But the end of the day, it's been kind of rough for them. It's gonna be even tougher for them going to the playoffs. But hopefully Will Barton can come back soon, and hopefully he can be held to come playoff time to even give the Nuggets a chance. And for this last other news and notes, this is really cool actually. There's going to be a Marvel's an NBA theme night during the Warriors-Pelicans game. I believe it's next Saturday. I believe it's going to be filmed in a Marvel-themed studio, with one of the commentators being Richard Jefferson. And basically this whole thing is like a side story between Iron Man and Black Panther, where they're going to be gathering 3 players from each team. From the Warriors, you got Steph, Dre, and Wiggins. And on the Pelican side, you got Zion, Ingram, and Lonzo. And basically what this is going to do is they're going to get Marvel points for every point, rebound, assist, steal, and block that they have, and points taken away for missed field goals, free throws, and turnovers. So I think this is a cool idea. Some people are like, what the heck is this? This is so gimmicky. I mean, we've seen this in the playoffs. We've seen this in the Super Bowl for the NFL, where they did that thing with SpongeBob and Nickelodeon and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'd give it a chance. It seems pretty cool for me. I don't even know if I'm going to get this broadcast here in Canada, but I do want to see this out and see how this turns out. So, yeah, I mean, it should be an entertaining game nonetheless between these 2 teams. But adding this little wrinkle, I think it'd be really interesting. Just give it a chance. Let's just give it a chance and let's see how it goes. But yeah, those are the other news and notes. Let me know what you guys think down below with these topics, and just anything I talked about in this podcast. DM me, leave in the comment section down below. I'll definitely interact with you guys. But before we end off today's episode, you know how it is. It's a Monday, so it's time for TV's Power Rankings. 1 new team getting in, lots of movement in this list. And if you guys seen it already on my Instagram, you've seen the rankings, but it's time to go into a deep dive. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into TV's Power Rankings. I believe this is week 19. Coming in at number 10, a new addition to his team, and a team who hasn't been on the list for a while, the Dallas Mavericks. A 3-0 week, Doncic playing very good once again. I watched that whole game versus the Lakers on Saturday, where basically the Lakers was telling everyone to beat them besides Luka. Dwight Powell had a fantastic game that game, 25 points. And Luka hit a phenomenal step-back 3 with under a minute left over Schroeder, basically hitting it from near the logo. He's been fantastic. He is, it's hard to double-team Doncic because he's such a good passer as well. And they're pulling off some great wins. They just got themselves out of that play-in spot at the very moment. They're 1.5 games behind the Lakers, which could be interesting too. So Maybe the Mavs get into that 5th seed. I don't know. But they've been playing great. Luka's been playing great. They're at number 10. Coming at number 9, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. It was an okay week. They lost to the Hawks without Trae Young, and I believe without Clint Capella as well, which is kind of rough for the Bucks. They also lost to the Suns this week in a very, very close game. Whether it was a foul or not on Booker, you could judge for yourself. But the Bucks, they either go on crazy, crazy win streaks or they have kind of okay weeks. They're still pretty comfortable at 3, so I don't see them losing that spot. But they're starting to kind of lose sight at the number 2 and number 1 seed. So, yeah, I think they should still be pretty good come playoff time. Let's just see how this team does. And I think this regular season, I think they're going to be probably stuck at number 3. So, coming at 9th place in this week's power rankings, the Milwaukee Bucks. Coming in at number 8, this team has been absolutely rolling. The New York Knicks. New York rejoice. Julius Randle, still, like I mentioned earlier, playing amazing during this run. They're just getting some great contributions. RJ Barrett, a career year for him. Nerlens Noel. I do want to talk about this because when searching kind of the advanced side of a lot of these players, Nerlens Noel is just one of the most impactful defensive players in basketball. Especially like with Mitchell Robinson not there. He's been absolutely fantastic for them. Number 2 in the NBA, right behind Matisse Thybulle and defensive plus minus. Number 3 in defensive win shares. And just the way, like just watching him against the Raptors, the way he was swatting shots, he blocked a big dunk from Pascal. This Knicks team, man, they're fun to watch. It's fun to see New York happy and stuff like that. And yeah, they're continuing to roll. Let's see if they're going to be able to make this to double digits this week. But for right now, they are number 8. And I know some people are not going to be happy that this team is over them at the moment, especially because they just took over their spot for number 4. But coming in at number 7, I have the Atlanta Hawks. And the reason for that is this team, losing Trae Young early in the week, they are still just getting wins. And they're getting impressive wins at that. Beating the Miami Heat quite comfortably. Bogdan Bogdanovic has been absolutely on fire over this last month or so. After having a very, very slow start to the season, obviously getting that injury as well. He's finally getting things going. They're still getting these wins without Trae Young. I know they got that win with the against the Heat without Clint Capella either. So they're still finding ways to win. Nate McMillan is having them play hard. John Collins back from injury as well, which is really nice. Having Lou Williams play very well off the bench. Especially hitting those 4 threes, man. I mean, in that game against the Milwaukee Bucks, he had like 4 threes in the final 7 minutes. So, yeah, this team is really, really good. I know Knicks fans are not going to be happy I have them over the Knicks, but the Hawks, man, they've been playing very, very well too. And that's why they're number 7. Coming in at number 6, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. Very, very rough week for them. 0-4. And what this week basically shows me is that if they really want to have any sort of success come playoff time, they need a healthy roster. Because with Joel Embiid out, you could tell that they were average at best. Without Ben Simmons, they're missing him both on defense, obviously one of the best defenders in basketball. And they're just missing his playmaking. They're missing his ability to create for others, another inside threat. They're just missing Ben Simmons a lot. And it's been a really, really rough week for them. Obviously, that loss to Phoenix where Joel Embiid missed a full court bank shot to try and send it to overtime. That was rough. They lost to the Bucks and stuff like that. Like, it's just been a rough week for the 76ers. And Ben Simmons couldn't come back any quicker. So let's hope Ben Simmons comes back soon and helps get the team right back on track because they also lost their number 1 place this week. Coming in at number 5, we have the Utah Jazz. I mentioned earlier they clinched, so they're pretty happy right now. Hoping for Spider to come back healthy soon. Hopefully they can clinch the number 1 seed because I think they need as much home court advantage as possible. And they've been playing absolutely fantastic still. Jordan Clarkson playing at a pretty high level. Gobert continuing to show why he is he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Rough loss to the Timberwolves though. I mean, losing to Timberwolves in any capacity sucks. But they're still playing very well. They're at number 5 in this week's power rankings. Coming at number 4, we have the Brooklyn Nets. They're 3-1 right now on the week. They took out number 1. They took over the number 1 spot in the East. Kyrie has been balling out. KD's back from injury. This team, with all the little things happening with James Harden's injury, Kyrie's personal reasons and his injuries, same thing with Durant's injuries, LaMarcus Aldridge retiring, the fact that they had this basically a non-healthy roster for so long now and they're still number 1 just shows how great of a team they are, how talented they are. And man, they're dangerous. They are dangerous. And it looks like they're the East favorites even without one of these star players. But if they really want to win that championship, they got to get healthy. But they've been playing well, so I have them at number 4. Coming at number 3, we have the Denver Nuggets. You got to show love where love needs to be shown. And this team, with the injuries, are still playing very well. Michael Porter Jr. Has been good as a number 2 option. Jokic still playing at an MVP level. Right now, they sit 4th place in the West, 3 games behind the Clippers, which is going to be a tough task to kind of move away from that. But who knows? Right now, they face the Denver. They're going to face the Lakers in the first round, which could be pretty rough, especially with LeBron coming back very soon. But if the Mavericks catch up to the Lakers, if the Nuggets face the Mavericks in the first round, maybe that's going to be a bit easier for them. But at the end of the day, I mean, these injuries are rough. Obviously, let's hope that Will Barton comes back soon. But yeah, the fact they're still getting wins is highly impressive, and that's why they're at number 3. Coming at number 2, we have the Phoenix Suns. 2-2 week, back-to-back losses over these last 2 weeks. That's why they lost their number 1 spot. And what's going to be rough for them over these next few weeks is they're going to play a lot of games. If you don't remember, early on in the season, they didn't play for, I believe, two weeks or more. So they have a lot of games to fill up over this last few weeks. So it's going to be a very, very rough end to the season for them. That's why it's been kind of a lot very jam-packed throughout these last few weeks. But they're still playing well. They're still getting some W's. Number 2 team in basketball right now. Good for them. And that's why they're at number 2 right now. And coming in at number 1, the Los Angeles Clippers. Awesome year for them. And what's been really crazy about this run that they've been having right now they're currently on a pretty big winning streak themselves. 4 games, 4-0 this week. They're doing most of this without Kawhi, and they're actually getting lots of great production from their supporting cast, whether it's Luke Kennard, whether it's Reggie Jackson, whether it's Terrence Mann. It's been good for them. And Paul George playing at an All-NBA level as well has been really good for this Clippers team. They could be taking over number 2 as well, so maybe that's something to be looking out for. But they're one of the hottest teams in basketball, one of the best teams in basketball, as a matter of fact, and that's why they're number 1 on this week's Power Rankings. But yeah, that's that. Let me know whether you guys agree or disagree. I'm willing to debate you. I think this is a thing I like to do really fun for every week. And it's very good to see the different type of receptions I get to this, and I think it sparks good debate. So, agree or disagree, let me know down below, whether on Instagram, whether on here, shoot me a DM, whatever. But I think this is where we're going to end things. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Remember to show love on all the podcast channels. Like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And remember to follow TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for awesome content. Like I said, last week of school, after this, I'm going to get a bunch of guests on. I'm going to put out a bunch of playoff content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram, even on TikTok. I think I should be posting more in coming next month. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And again, thank you guys for all the support you've been showing to me on all platforms. And yeah, this is where we're going to today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you all have a fantastic day. TV signing out. Take it easy, guys. Peace.